And thank you for watching. And bear with me. This is the first episode, so there might be hiccups. There might be a lot, but I'm excited to try and bring this to you. So, also a big thank you to 13 Cards Subject to Change for kind of getting this rolling and making me feel like I know what I'm doing. So, without further ado, I'll bring in my friends Joe and Brian today, who are my guests. I've known both of them for over 15 years, so let's get this party started. How we doing, Joe? How you doing today?
Pretty good. As far as hiccups go, I've heard that holding your breath in your nose really helps with that.
Well, I don't want to do that on the first episode because I'm trying to get viewers, not lose viewers. Let's see if we can get Brian in here with us here. And there he is. Brian, how you doing today?
Hey, I made it.
Yay, we're all together. All together. Okay, so what we're going to do to start is I have a little segment I want to call Rapid Fire. Now, I did give you guys a clue as to one question, but I want to surprise you with a few just to kind of see where you're at. So, Joe, to start, give me your Mount Rushmore of wrestling.
Ooh, that's a good one. Let's see, probably Shawn Michaels. Jericho probably is up there.
Good
The
pick.
Rock and Stone Cold. I guess I'm just a child of the Attitude Era.
Okay. Brian, how about you?
I'd probably go Stone Cold, Undertaker.
I mean, I got this great mug.
And
Stone Cold.
Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant. Okay, did not see that one coming.
Andre.
Did you only get
Alrighty.
three? Aren't you missing a fourth?
Stone Cold, Taker, Hulk, and Andre.
Oh, you said Hulk. I missed Hulk. Sorry.
Gotcha. I did not expect those answers from Brian, let alone Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant.
I went for most iconic, like the ones
Oh,
that,
okay. You went iconic.
You know what I mean? Like the actual Mount Rushmore where it's like...
How do you not get Rock
the
on
game
there?
changers. What?
How do you not get The Rock in there? Like, he's the most iconic wrestler probably of all time.
Yeah, but he's the biggest name of all time. You know what I mean?
I mean,
like,
just
when
in
it came to,
Hollywood,
like-
he's the biggest name right now.
Yeah,
So.
but when it came to like wrestling popularity, yeah, he was up there. But like Stone Cold and Hulk Hogan are probably the top two all time.
Okay. All right. Number 2. When I say GOAT, Joe, who do you ultimately think of?
GOAT?
Yep.
Michaels.
Michaels. Okay. Brian?
Oof, Undertaker.
Ooh. Now, are you going off of athleticism, or are you going off of just showmanship here?
I'm going off of everything: longevity, work in the ring, just iconic moments, all-time memories. Just when you look at his entire body of work and everything he's accomplished, I would say he's probably the greatest when you look at everything all around.
How about for you, Joe?
For Shawn, I mean, he's Mr. WrestleMania. No one's had bigger moments or been involved with bigger things, I feel like, than Michaels has. He's really ushered in the Attitude Era. He was one of the founding members of DX. He's held the belt a bunch of times. I don't think there's anybody I was more excited for when he came back after all the back stuff and everything like that, and he had that whole second part of his career. Like he had third party, right? He had the Rockers. He had, the Heartbreak Kid. Then he came back as Shawn Michaels. The Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. He's still the Shawn Michaels at that point, really. So,
well, Taker the same way. He had the Dead Man, and then he had the Ministry of Darkness Taker. And
I ain't taking anything away from Taker.
And then he had the new one.
I mean, if you want Taker, I mean, I would say, Taker's got more dedication to his character than anybody. I mean, he's gonna bring character in or out of the ring for years. Absolutely.
Well, that's part of why I said he was the GOAT. I mean, there was nobody that was more wrestling oriented and like meant more to the business itself than Undertaker.
So those 2 losses, though, to Taker there, Joe, that doesn't shine away from what Michaels can do?
Michaels will win. He'll put people over, and he'll make people look good doing it. I mean, he put Hulk Hogan over hugely in that match, didn't he? Nobody could have did what he did, as ridiculous as it was, and have people not like react poorly to it. Everybody thought it was hilarious what he was doing. You know,
I
and
gotta admit
nobody
too, I
forgot
feel
about
like that brought Taker's WrestleMania streak to a whole nother level because that goes down WrestleMania 25 as one of the best matches ever. I feel like, without those Shawn Michaels matches, Taker really didn't have a lot of big ones. They kind of fed him, Giant Gonzalez, you got the big boss man, and drawing a blank here on who the other opponent was in with that Hell in a Cell match. But I mean, I feel like Michaels put his matches on the map. And then going forward, it was just a trajectory of even,
But
better talent.
at the same time, I mean, you got Taker with Mankind tossing him off the cage. I mean, that's not
Hell in a
going
Cell,
anywhere.
yep.
You've got and a lot of that is his booking. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
Taker was never put in that like Taker was only seldomly put in that Shawn Michaels spot where he was the reliable big guy who was, who was the giant, the test of time, where Michaels was the one who was put in those championship spots. He was put in those championship moments time and time and time and time and time and time again. Where Taker was, but he was more of the mountain for the champion to climb, or the mountain for the champion to get over, rather than Taker more becoming champion because, as Vince always said, Taker didn't need it.
I would say that I think Taker probably took a bad gimmick and made it into what it was better than anybody else.
He took what could have been a terrible gimmick. Yeah,
right. I mean, you're just an Undertaker to he's a dead man, and even with that American Badass portion, he still pulled it out, and everybody still loved him and everything. Like I said, don't get me wrong. I think the only thing that really puts him above anybody, though, in the long run is just his longevity. Because who else has done it as long as he has, at the level that he has? I know Randy Orton's probably gonna get close to that.
Yeah, that's a 20-year streak at almost being at the top. Like that's
right.
There's no one that's been that consistently at the top besides maybe a Michaels and Taker. So.
He's got voices in his head. He's got to get them out.
And the thing with Taker and HBK is they never really worked for anybody else except for Vince once they got into WWE. Now, Shawn was fired, back when he was the Rockers because he lived up to his, party gimmick. But, I mean, since they were in WWE, they never went anywhere else. So, I mean, that's a credit, too, is that they both had that longevity with one company.
Yeah, I mean, and I think we're all probably biased to them just because they're part from our generation. Because it's got other people for goats. I mean, you got Flair, you've got Hogan. I mean, Hogan made wrestling even close to what it is now. You know what I mean? He's the one who kind of ushered that in. I mean, so it's really hard to have a goat wrestler. I mean, we all know who your goat is, but
well, I do love Goldust, but I would put Jericho is my greatest of all time.
I'm not being an asshole because I'm tired, but I feel like the name of this segment should not be rapid fire. It's
to generate the conversation. That's so that we're not just.
I would just change the name of the segment because you don't want to say rapid fire and they expect people to like get a bunch of quick answers and then let's have a 10-minute discussion.
Oh, I mean, we're fine. We're learning as we go. All right, we'll move on because Brian wants to do rapid fires here. All right, I'm sure I know the answer to this because, it is what it is. DX or NWO? DX, Joe, go ahead. DX both?
Yeah.
See, I was a WCW kid, so NWO for life. Too sweet. Rest in peace, Scott Hall. So, all right.
See, the problem, I just want to say something about that. NWO, I mean, New World Order, when you had the old order there, you had Hogan.
The original.
He's not the new, like, as great as he was as Hollywood Hogan, that's not New World Order. That's just, whatever. DX was young guys, got together, And they were together and setting, like, they were taking over the thing. They didn't take over like NWO did WCW. That was their only gimmick though, too. So I mean, I think it got watered down. Like, just the original NWO stuff was great, but it got really watered down.
Too many members.
Too many members. Yep.
The entire roster is NWO.
Yep.
Dusty Rhodes was in the NWO. Jeff Jarrett was in the NWO. But then also with the NWO too, I feel like they had the branch offs, the Wolfpack, the NWO 2000, the Silver, Latino World Order. I mean, it just kind of snowballed into more and more.
I mean, they are definitely the model for the Bullet Club and everything they've done.
Exactly. Yep.
So again, DX has got a much smaller. DX is just much more. What's the word I'm thinking of? Exclusive.
Yes.
Not everybody's in DX.
Exactly.
Well,
yep.
And the thing was that DX was able to get away with a lot more than NWO was. Like, when it came to like their standards and practices and shit, where you hear in those documentaries where WCW is like, well, we had a bunch of people running us that didn't know wrestling and wouldn't let us do this and that or whatever. While you had WWF going out there with porn stars and move celebrities, and it's like, how do we keep up?
Also with DX, I mean, Triple H did kind of, I feel like he protected that more and it meant something more where, like you said, NWO was watered down. You got Hogan, you got Hall, who had his personal issues. And then you got Hogan, who creative control didn't want to do anything that probably didn't make him look good.
Right.
Finger pointed doom, that was pretty BS.
That's funny though.
Yeah.
Finger poke of doom was pretty funny. Like, I know it was blasphemous or whatever, but that was pretty funny. Like, that was well done. Like, yeah, I'm gonna give the title up to the boss. Here you go.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Alrighty.
Moving on. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Like I said, this is just to generate some conversation, keep it going. So, this one I feel like I'm going to get offended by both of you when I say the word overrated.
Overrated?
Mm-hmm.
Most overrated wrestler?
You have time for a list? Kevin Owens, Daniel Bryan.
Okay. Say what you want about Kevin Owens, but Daniel Bryan, no.
Is rated as shit.
No, you know what? And I'm going to catch a lot of heat for this. I'm going to say Punk.
I can't stand Punk.
Punk's got some stuff, but he's just smells his own ass way too much. He's all about he'll tell you he's the greatest in the world. Like,
mm-hmm.
And the thing is that's not a gimmick. I definitely think he thinks that of himself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's Punk in my opinion.
I feel like he does love the business, but I feel like he doesn't love what comes with it. The fans, the work, everything that a fan loves. I feel like he's just there to wrestle, get his accolades, and get in the car and go to the next town. Like, he doesn't want to meet fans. He doesn't want to interact. He just wants to be CM Punk and keep moving.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other guys just as good as him, in my opinion,
mm-hmm.
better wrestling wise. He's just got the whole the what do they call it? The pipe bomb, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it was the pipe bomb. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's still living off that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was really struggling before then. Maybe WWE wasn't using him right or whatever, but he's still, eating out on that. I
think he had a streak where he held the championship through so many, pay-per-views, but then he was also pissed off because he didn't headline them or he was the opening match, which makes sense. I mean, you would think the champion would be the main event, but I feel like, like Bruce Pritchard said, not to, bring them into conversation, but like, had they let him beat Taker, he still would not have been happy that night because he was not main eventing that Mania.
Yeah, but I mean, the Taker matches so many times were really the main event of wrestling.
Exactly. It's basically, it's not the main event, but everybody looks forward to that.
Wait a second. I thought Shawn Michaels was WrestleMania. Not
It's Mr. WrestleMania.
But I thought you said Undertaker's matches most of the time were the main event at WrestleMania.
I said so many times, not most of the time.
Oh, so many times. So many. Thank you for agreeing with me.
Hey, I'm not saying Taker isn't great. I just think Michaels is better.
No.
All right. And
We're
we'll
talking
end the
about-
rapid fire segment with favorite of all time.
Oof. Stone Cold.
I mean, when it was happening,
First one comes to your head.
when it was happening, it was The Rock. Now it's probably Michaels, but it's probably The Rock. I'm a big mark for The Rock.
Yeah, I've still got to stick with Goldie, a.k.a. Dustin Rhodes, who is phenomenal in this final run of his that he's having in AEW. We won't get into AEW because I don't want to get into that too much here today. So, moving on. Let's get into first memories of your wrestling experience, Joe. How did it all start for you?
I mean, again, growing up, I'm from Milwaukee, so my parents, had all that AWA stuff, and they knew a bunch of the guys. They knew like Crusher and stuff like that. My dad bought Gorgeous George's Cadillac from him a long time ago. I met Ric Flair when I was real young. He was friends with a lady down the street that my mom's friends with, so we met him. But really, the first things I remember was just watching Saturday Night Main Event with my dad way back when it was on. I remember watching, Roddy Piper. I loved him. Jake the Snake. I still have my rubber snake somewhere. Sergeant Slaughter.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of cool stuff with that. But yeah, it was just watching it with my dad when I was real young. Is kind of where I got started. Earliest things I can remember. Earliest match I remember is Macho Man versus Jake the Snake. After Jake slapped Miss Elizabeth and Macho Man did the Maybe I Am Insane promo, which I feel is more iconic than like the Cream of the Crop stuff, but that's just the one I remember the best, I guess. I didn't see the Cream of the Crop one until I was much older, so yeah. There you go.
You okay there, Brian?
Yep.
All right, what's some of your first memories there?
Huh?
Your first wrestling memories.
I would have to say my earliest wrestling memories are renting VHSs from the video store downtown and taking them home and watching them. I think that was really some of my first experiences was, wondering what those are and renting them and taking them home and just being kind of, wow, this is cool.
Now, let me just jump in here quick because kids today, if they're listening to this type of podcast or watching this type of
VHS.
A VHS tape is what we used to watch movies on before everything was streaming through the TV. Like we physically had to go to a store to get the movie. For me, actually, it was kind of weird because I just happened to be walking home and I remember a kid saying, "Hey, do you like Sega?" And like, what kid didn't love Sega back in the 90s? And he invited me over to play video games. And one of the first games we played was WWF Royal Rumble. And I was like, wow, these characters are cool. Like $1 Million Man, Papa Shango. And then we played the WrestleMania arcade game, which I feel is still one of my favorite wrestling games. Like the Mortal Kombat of the wrestling world. And Mike Liddell, man, I feel like this kid had every action figure that was out back in the 90s. And I'd go over to his house, play action figures. And that's some like my fondest memories of not only wrestling, but as a child is just, going over there. And this kid had like almost 500 figures. Now, I might be exaggerating, but to me, there was a ton.
The Mortal Kombat of the wrestling world.
I'm sorry, my parents didn't let me play Mortal Kombat, so the best I had was the wrestling version of it. I'm sorry.
You should have SNES and there's no blood. It was just mud. It was just brown stuff coming from them instead of blood. It's much more.
They didn't die. They were just sleeping.
Yeah.
But you still got impaled.
White mud.
What's that?
White mud.
Oh, gotcha. Alrighty. So, also with my first wrestling memories, it goes back when I would go to my grandparents' house too, because my grandmother actually hated it, and Grandpa would let me hang out in their room and watch it, and I would flip between WCW and WWF. But what really stands out for me with WCW is when they threw little old Rey Mysterio into that trailer like a lawn dart, and after that, I was just hooked. I will never forget that moment in wrestling because that was the first memory or wrestling thing that sucked me into the program. And I remember when I met Kevin Nash, I had brought that up to him, and he just chuckled. He's like, "Thanks for watching, kid," and that was about it. So,
Listen to Captain Name Drop over here, huh?
yeah. I don't want to get into that because we all know my obsession with meeting wrestlers. So,
I'm sorry if my phone vibrates. I'm a little busy. That could have been Stone Cold or Kevin Nash. Sting.
I mean, I could touch base with Darren Corbin and see if he could hook me up with Davari's phone number to come on the podcast.
Hey, you know what? You know what? I got a question for you guys. I got one now.
Go ahead.
Name one wrestler, alive or dead, that if you could meet them, you would.
Elvis. Who?
One wrestler, alive or dead, that if you could meet them, you would.
Go ahead, Brian.
I don't know.
I'm going Dusty Rhodes. I remember, again, renting the VHS.
You couldn't talk to his sons. You couldn't talk to his sons. Did you go talk to him?
We both know I would, sit there just all quiet and stare at him the whole time. But I remember renting a VHS tape of SummerSlam when he had his valet stolen by the $1 Million Man, and that just pissed me off as a kid. I thought that was the meanest thing ever. He took off with his valet, and Dusty would definitely be one that I would love to meet. Taken way too soon, and I feel like I could have had a chance to meet him. So. What's that?
Wasn't he like 78 years old?
Yeah, still pretty young though. I hope to go when I'm like 80 or 90.
By like WrestleMania 1 standard, that's pretty old.
Anyways, Brian, what's your answer?
Stone Cold.
Okay.
Stone Cold.
I pretty much met everybody else I wanted to meet. Like Kane, maybe, but I'll just drive to his town and see if he's in his office.
Yeah, we were supposed to go to the Heavy on Wrestling when they were going to have Lita and Kane. So,
yeah.
Fortunately, the pandemic ruined a lot of that for me. So,
ruined a lot of people. Killed some people.
Yeah, not just me personally. I forgot the whole world was affected by this. Sorry that I threw out my grievance that I couldn't meet pro wrestlers for a year. So, Joe, how about you lead us into some of your wrestling experiences, especially with your son?
Yeah, well, obviously, like I said, growing up watching him, met Ric Flair and everything like that. That was cool. Again, I was pretty young at the time, though. I remember first learning wrestling-wise. I remember learning from a local kid. As a matter of fact, the son of the kid of the lady who knew Ric Flair telling me that wrestling was fake. It crushed me.
We don't use that word here.
Sorry, scripted. He told me fake though. Anyways, and because I was a huge Ultimate Warrior fan at the time, but and then just kind of growing up, I remember going to my first show, meeting Matt Hardy there and Mr. Kennedy with the overalls and all that stuff. I think that was my first show. I remember going to a short person's wrestling federation up north for my 1-year anniversary with my wife. I remember going to that. That was fun. And then just introducing my son to wrestling. He became a huge New Day fan. Taking him to local shows, watching him almost get in a fight with some of the wrestlers who he thought were he took those bad guys very seriously. He was all about being mad at them. He loved Airwolf. Still got that Airwolf mask. He wore that all the time.
Darius
So,
Martin. Yep.
yep, Darius Martin. Yep, that's correct. He also liked his brother,
Dante.
Lucha Angel or whatever his name was when he was in the area.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he liked those guys. He just like any other kid, he loved the masked guys. He thought they were cool, the high flyers and stuff. He was really big into. We met when we met Mark Henry in Oshkosh.
Mm-hmm.
He really liked that. Thought it was cool that we got to meet him. So yeah, I mean, it's just pretty cool going to some of the local shows. You know, I wouldn't drive as far as some people I know,
You're
but
not obsessed like us.
when they're local-ish, that's fun. So
Brian, do you remember the question?
Nope.
Some of your wrestling experiences. This is where
Oh,
you
yeah.
get to name drop.
Oh, well, one of my first experiences was watching WrestleMania 14 live. That was in my first pay-per-view I ever watched live, which was a lot of fun. I remember trying to go to the school library so I can catch the monthly edition of WWF Magazine and catch up on the monthly pay-per-views because I was poor and couldn't afford pay-per-view. So that's how I caught up on my pay-per-view before the internet, magazines, paper. You had to read it. But then
read it
I
to
grew
you.
up, and then I got to meet some of my favorite wrestlers. So then, as I grew up, I got to meet some wrestlers like Undertaker. You know what? I totally forgot we met Batista, so I ran across the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I don't even know where that was at.
Minneapolis.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, a lot of meeting a lot of the old wrestlers that I like growing up has been pretty neat.
Yeah. You know what? I forgot one, and this is one that I actually like quite a bit.
You talk more than the host.
I'm a talker. You know. Anyways, I remember meeting Scott Hall at First Avenue, and I made sure I was first one in line, so I went up and talked to him. And I remember saying to him, "You're a lot taller than I realized you were." And he goes, "Well, Chico, if you wrestled next to Kevin Nash your entire career, you'd look short too." And that's the best interaction I've ever had with a wrestler, where I actually said something and didn't like stumble over stuff. You know, I didn't get yelled at like Mankind yelled at me. Sorry, Mick Foley. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. They were selling those posters. I brought him for him to sign. I was like, I'm still gonna pay you. You know, I was still gonna buy another book and stuff from you. I'm not just like expecting a free signature. Sorry, Mick. Anyways,
Well, if you go to the next Comic-Con with us in Minneapolis, you can have a redo and tell him how sorry you are for making him upset.
No, he's a deadbeat. He'll just send his kid with us.
yeah, with $100, I'll never expect to see you again.
One of my favorite wrestling memories that we shared was when we went to First Wrestling there in Minneapolis, and Sami Callihan trying to kill Darby Allin and almost throwing him into the front row.
And how angry you were that he spit on you.
Pretty upset, and I caught the guardrail in the knee. I am officially afraid of Sami Callihan. Him and Lance Archer are two that I am legitimately afraid of. Also, Brian and I, we went to the NXT pay-per-view down there in Chicago where Adam Cole was, suplexed off by Tosama Ciampa off the top of the cage. It was a crazy moment. And then just being in Chicago there was iconic itself for that arena. But I look forward, Joe, to the day that Riley Jackson gets to see your son after so many years, because I'm pretty sure Harley is bigger than him now at 10 years old.
Who was that guy at First Wrestling whose daughter was wrestling? What was his name again?
Paul Ellering.
Yeah.
Rachel
I remember telling him that my son just discovered who he is and he hates him. Because he kept interfering in matches when he was wrestling the Authors of Pain.
Yep.
And he just hated him, and he just looked at me really awkwardly and walked away. I was like, it was like a compliment. It's his job that he hated.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't there as a wrestler.
He was
there to see his daughter wrestle.
I thought he was legit pissed at us when we came over and got pictures and stuff. So, but then when I met him in Minneapolis the following year, complete 180, super talkative, going on about Rachel, and she had just been in a car accident at that time. So, but All right. Any other thing you want to share there, Joe, about wrestling?
No, don't. Why'd you ask him that?
No, I've got plenty of other things I'm sure I could talk about, but nothing off the top of my head now.
Well, it's the first episode. We'll have plenty more to get you and Harley on because I do want to hear Harley's reaction of that fight that he almost got into.
He was heartbroken that he wasn't invited on tonight. I'm just letting you know.
Mm-hmm. We'll get him on. So now that we're getting rolling with this bad boy, we'll get him on. Brian, any more wrestling experiences? Any more wrestling?
Nope.
You want to brag about? Any name drops? Nope. No? All right. Now we're coming to the favorite part of this, which I'm looking forward to, is what you collect. So I'm going to call this segment Show Me the Collectibles because, I'm not very original. So you guys have your collectibles to show off to the world?
Here I go.
All right, whoever wants to go first, let's see what you got.
I got this signed NXT picture. A bunch of wrestlers.
Didn't I tag you in that contest?
No, yeah. So now you said that. So now I don't know who all the wrestlers' autographs are, and I know you said that some of them aren't wrestlers on the thing. So I know that obviously that's Otis.
Don't even rub it in my face because I'm still upset about it. Right. I mean, I've got about 20-some autographed cards and an 8x10.
Who's Otis?
Yeah.
Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
Never heard of him.
That's probably Stone. I can't tell for sure, but that was probably Stone Cold's autograph.
That's Drew McIntyre, but that's a pretty good piece there. I mean, that
I can't tell who that was, but I think Kane signed that one.
He signs a lot of things now, like mostly just really bad laws, but whatever.
There's probably Andre the Giant's signature on there. I think he said there was.
No. How about you, Joe? What do you got to show off for the world?
I have nothing to do with the wrestling, but this right here, Batman, the animated series poster, signed by one Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman. So
you're a lazy bitch. I watched you look at your wall. You pulled that off your wall at arm's way. You lazy bitch.
You collectible stuff. You put it up on the wall. You want to see? I got other stuff on the floor. You want to see that? Huh?
He's like,
yeah.
Show us what you collect, Joe.
Here's a really cool guy with William Henderson. Yeah, that's right. I was a freshman. I was as big as that guy. Huh?
What'd you bring for show and tell? Oh, this picture I drew.
Rose Bowl sweatshirt, 1994 for Wisconsin. Still smells like my dad's BO.
Oh my God! You haven't shown one wrestling thing. It's a wrestling podcast. You haven't shown any wrestling stuff.
Hey, he said collectibles. He doesn't have to be wrestling.
It doesn't have to be wrestling related. No, this is where it's exciting to see what other people.
I got my Wrestle Buddy downstairs. I got my Ultimate Warrior Wrestle Buddy.
Well, it's too bad it's downstairs. So
I can go get it right now.
No, we don't need you to run off on the first episode here, and then have to wait for you. So
you want to see all my posters signed? Huh? I got a whole bunch of them signed by Mick Foley out there. I put them out there just to remind myself that he hates me.
Thank you for answering all these wrestling questions for the last 35 minutes. Here's my Batman picture.
Hey, you didn't say it has to be wrestling related. It
does not have to be wrestling related. So I'm just excited to see what people collect. So you have a magic 8-ball.
I've just followed the, logical connective tissue.
Is Brian a D-bag?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up here, folks. Anything else you want to plug, say, or do?
No, but we'll go home. Bye.
All right.
Verizon
Thank you, gentlemen, for agreeing to do this. What's that?
Verizon is by far the best cell phone service in the nation.
And now my video will be flagged for millions of things. So, all right, boys, I appreciate you coming on, being a friend of the Squared Circle. Until next time, thanks, gents.
Bye.
All right, everybody, thank you for watching and putting up with our shenanigans for roughly 35 minutes here. Check us out on Facebook at Friends of the Squared Circle. Also, I am on Instagram at CalAnders13. Give us a follow, give us a like, give us some feedback of what you think. And thank you for being a friend of the Squared Circle. Until next time, I'm Crander Q, and Crander Q out.